welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt, this is Twigs T4, and today we're going to be removing the turbo. But before we get into removing the turbo, I mean, if you want to skip forward, I will leave a timestamp down below so you can get straight to that. But everyone else who's seen the previous video of me diagnosing the turbo issue, you know, going back to that video, massive shout out to every single one of you that has commented, that has interacted with the video and interacted with myself since then, with the messages on Instagram and Facebook, and obviously the comments as well. A lot of support, really appreciate that. I've been offered a temporary turbo from someone because at the moment, to be honest with you, I'm weighing up my options. So I have been on eBay and I've had a look to see what my best options are with, you know, whether I could replace the core. You know, you can get the cores quite cheap. You can pick them up for just under £100, so not too bad on the pricing. So I looked into it a little bit more. I also found Max Speeding Rods. They do an absolute corking deal with a brand new turbo on their website for £125, but I don't know the delivery on them because I've never used them before. So, you know, I want to get this done quite quick. I did look at Autodoc, you know, they've got some good prices on their turbos, but again, Autodoc, their delivery recently has been really good. And I'm usually getting stuff in about 4 or 5 days. So, you know, that's an option, getting a new turbo, but again, it's the time it could take for them to get here. So then I thought, well, what about getting it reconditioned? I had a lot of comments as well from people saying to use Midland turbos. So I got in touch with Midland turbos, got a price from them, very competitive. However, I won't be going with Midland turbos because they can't do it as quick as I would like. It would be probably quicker for me just to buy one from Autodoc. So we're not going with Midland turbo. I then went around and just checked for turbo reconditioners, local turbo suppliers and all that kind of stuff. And I actually found one that's not too far, you know, maybe about half hour, 45-minute drive away from here. And yeah, Turbo Performance Limited. And I actually found him because I was going through doing some YouTube searches as well while I was online doing searching and messaging people and ringing up companies, and I saw this video and I just thought, oh, I'll put it on, I'll play it. And it was a half-hour video or so, and it was really interesting, and that video gave me the confidence to sort of like speak to them about getting my turbo sorted. So done a little bit of research, and yeah, they're only down the road, this company. And yeah, from that video I will leave links for that video, so you've got to go check it out. Really informative, and it just gives you the confidence in that company. So I reached out to them, and he's actually willing to, well, Turbo Performance Limited, they're actually willing to do some sort of like some work together. You know, I don't want you know, it's not going to be a sponsored video, but he's going to give me a good price for everything, and also it gives me the opportunity to not only get a turbo reconditioned, but also possibly look at a hybrid turbo as well, because they can do all of that. So there is options in the pipelines of what we can do. So I think what we'll do is we'll get the turbo out, we'll have a quick look at it, and you know, maybe I'll strip it down, maybe I won't strip it down, we'll have a quick look. I'll come to that a bit later, you know, and I'll make that decision at the time. Right, let's sort of waffle and let's get out the front and get that turbo off, which in the past when I'm doing jobs, I'd say, oh yeah, it's quite a straightforward job. I mean, on paper, in theory, this is quite a straightforward job, but if you've never had your hands in down behind the back of that engine bay on the ACV, it's not a fun place to be. The amount of comments I've had on previous videos when people have said, oh, how did you get those intake manifold bolts in? How did you get those exhaust manifold bolts? Luckily, we don't have to get the exhaust manifold off. Well, hopefully we try not to. But the worst bolts of them all aren't even bolts, and they're actually clamps, and that's the exhaust bracket clamps. And yeah, previous videos will show you that exhaust clamps are not our friends. I have these are the exhaust clamps. These are old ones actually, when I done my exhaust last time, and you can see there on that corner, you can see it did actually snap. So, and these were the ones, yeah, like I say, from Just Campers. So I've had to revert to using my original ones that I took off originally. Yeah, right. Let's get out the front and start on it, I guess. The enthusiasm, you can tell I'm not enthusiastic to do this job. Yeah. Right, anyway. So there it is, the intake is off. Happy days. Looks like it's leaking a little bit from the EGR pipe. Got to try and get this off. This bolt here, which is a 12mm. There's a couple around the back and the top. I've still got like vacuums to take off, oil in, oil return, obviously that one as well. Take these off, I guess. If I can take these off, I don't have to battle the exhaust clamps, which are just there. So hopefully I can get these off. If I'm struggling with these, I might just take the whole manifold off and then do it on the side. But I didn't film taking the intake off because that's absolutely long. And it's hard work because you've got to straddle the engine, one arm underneath around there and the other hand in around here, just to try and get these ones around the back here. Not fun. Right, let's get all of this undone and I'll come back and let you know how I'm getting on. Right, so a quick update. Engine tray. I had to remove that to get the exhaust clamps off. So I do have a exhaust clamp tool there. I was able to remove one from up top here, the other one from underneath. The tool works okay, but it's not great. It's quite hard getting in, especially on this side from underneath because you've got the turbo in the way. And yeah, so this side I've just pried it off. They're not fun at all, and as you can tell, it's just starting to rain. What an absolute nightmare. So I'm going to have to tidy everything up, but we are almost out for the turbo. All the oil lines, everything's off. Just got to disconnect that, pull that off in a second, disconnect that. And then I'm going to undo the manifold and remove the whole thing all at once. And then I'll probably end up taking it into work and just using the Ugga Dugger to remove them, because it's going to be so much easier with the Ugga Dugger. Right, let me just tidy a few things up and we'll come back in a minute, hopefully when it's not raining, so I can get that exhaust manifold off. Oh, it looks like I just caught a break in the weather and it's just starting to rain again, just starting to spit. Right, so turbo, manifold, all off together. Yeah, let's just put it down for a moment. Right, so a time check of how long it's taken so far. So I did already, before I started today, the intercooler was off and all those pipe work. That only took me 15 minutes to get to that stage. Today, actual working time, probably, yeah, about 3 hours I'd say, about 3 hours in total. I've taken a couple of breaks. I mean, out here, yeah, I've been out 4 hours. cut the tea breaks, cut the fag breaks, you know, sit down, and look at the job, think about it, film a little clip. So yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's probably less than 3 hours of graft. But getting the intake off, then the manifold, what a nightmare. Ideally, it would have been nice just to get the turbo off without having to take the manifold off, because like I said earlier, those exhaust clamps are going to be a nightmare. And again, they were a nightmare, as per usual. Yeah, there's not a lot to see there. Right, I'm going to get the turbo stripped off from the manifold, maybe at work, maybe in the back, I don't know. We'll sort that out. And then once that's off, I will show you the restrictions in the manifold. And then in another episode, we'll go into the depth of stripping down the turbo. Right, anyway, I'm going to go out, strip that off. Obviously, I'll show you at the end, like I just said, the insides, but yeah. I'll catch you all later. You take care, stay safe, and God bless. Right, so a little bonus clip for you. So there's 2 nuts there that are, come around here. Well, there's 2 nuts there at the back of the turbo, and then there's this one here at the front, which is just there, which is tough to get through from the manifold. I'll show you at another point. Let's get around the back. So I said I would show you the restrictions on the exhaust from the turbo. I got it all undone. I took it into work. It was the end of the day. I was taking all my tools back out to the car because obviously I'm going to need some tools to sort all of this out. Yeah, so I was loading the car back up, and literally I come back in. I left this on the floor, and I come back in, and Kev he had it undone, and it was all off. And I was just like, okay, that was literally a minute, not even that. Yeah, so it was this bugger here, this bolt here that I struggled with. But yeah, no, he sorted that out, so happy days. And now we can see that restriction on the turbo. Well, from the turbo, there's such a small turbo, it's tiny. I couldn't believe how small it all is. But for this pipe, I mean, you'd think there was a big outlet there, but it's not. So an inside there, let me stand it up. That's a huge restriction. I'm not sure whether actually just having like a pipe just open, so all of this here is just an open bit of pipe. But then if I done that, would it not cause some sort of, I don't know, turbulence or something in there? I'm not sure. Maybe there's a reason why it is like this. I don't know. If someone can educate me, that would be great. But it's very sooty in there. Oh yeah, the turbo does go a little bit tight every now and then. Yeah, up there. Well, it'll be interesting to get it all taken apart and we'll have a look. We'll go to Turbo Performance, we'll have a chat with him and see what he says. He may take it all apart and say, oh no, there's nothing wrong with that. But in there, the light's not on. It is very oily in there, and there shouldn't be any oil out there at all. Use a cleaner finger, let's have a look. Yeah. You can see, I think the turbo is actually leaking around here as well. and there is a lot of exhaust gases as well. So I think, oh, here it is around here, around here, loads of soot. So maybe it's leaking as well. But yeah, we'll get the faces all cleaned up and flattened off. So we'll have all of this face cleaned off. We'll clean all the face off on the manifold. It's all easy enough to do. I was thinking about making my own stainless exhaust, getting some of these flanges, getting a flange like this and actually making my own with the EGR delete and everything. It's not actually that hard to do, and I could do it absolutely perfect because my trade, when I was training, pipe fitter welder. Now, believe it or not, these are just pipes. Obviously it's cast, so it's slightly different, but yeah, it's the same but different. So I could fabricate something just like where this turbo is so small. You know, you look at that, it's tiny. Even if we can sort of like hybrid this, just so that we skim the inside of this and skim the inside of the housing there, it's for maybe a bigger fan, some bigger blades now. I'm not sure, but even sort of like opening this up a few mil would help. But I don't know, I would speak to the matey down at Turbo Performance and see what he says. Right. Currently, I'm just cleaning out all of that oil and all of that gunk that was on the intake. That's obviously from the turbo. So I'm just cleaning that out at the moment. Look out for that in the shorts video. Right, I'll see you all very soon. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and God bless.